All right, welcome to episode of Video Villain New Release. I have a special guest with us today as we talk about M3GAN 2.0. Introduce yourself, Sean, as you don't need an introduction, but go ahead.
I guess I will introduce myself then, Logan. Yes, I'm Sean O'Rourke from Movie Dumpster. Here by myself tonight. I'm not in the video dungeon. I'm in a dark room, maybe inside the titular cube. But I did not bring Joe with me. He's possibly in the dungeon working on some things. But how the hell you doing, Logan?
I'm doing great, man. Oh, thank you for coming. Like, I know when M3GAN was coming out, and I had the idea for us to start putting out these new release episodes. We're more like, like more of a shorter, funner, like just take on whatever's currently in the theater. And I know that
I got my cup. I just came from the theater. I just saw it.
And I know, like, I wanted to talk about certain movies, and when I thought about M3GAN, I was like, you know what? I bet Sean would like to talk about M3GAN. And I was like, hey, you want to do M3GAN? You're like, let's do it. So I was like, all right, let's do this.
You were absolutely correct with that thinking. And I actually told Joe before I went out to see the movie earlier, I was like, oh, I'm going over on the Video Vila podcast. Just talk about M3GAN too. And he's like, that one's not for me, man. He's like, enjoy. I was like, well, at least he knows. He knows. I guess the first one didn't click for him, but I liked it. I liked the first one, so I was ready for two. Sign me up.
Well, that's the thing, though. Well, let's say, let me start off with one. One, like, I will agree. When it came out, I didn't really care too much about it, and I didn't want to go see it in theaters.
Same. I mean, I just waited for that unrated cut because it was kind of like, it wasn't even a secret. Like, everyone was talking about it. It's like, oh, PG-13, but like, I guess behind the scenes there was gorier kills and stuff. I don't remember the semantics exactly, but I waited for that unrated cut to come out, and I've actually never watched the theatrical. Maybe eventually I will. But yeah, I waited too.
And it's actually, to be honest, I just watched the theatrical the other day.
Okay.
So, like, I watched the unrated cut first, and then I watched the theatrical. And to be honest, man, like, it's not a lot of big differences. It's just like when they cut away from certain things, you just get to see it, really, to be honest.
That's
like the
kind of
ear
what I was
rip.
thinking.
Yeah, like the ear rip, you get to see the ear rip and stuff like that. But, and like the elevator scene, you get to see a little bit more of it coming out of the guy's chest and stuff like that. But to be honest, I do think one of the reasons why it did very well was because it was PG-13, and these I will say there is something about the first one that I really feel like is pretty authentic. Like, a lot of the choices that they make, and I'm going to use this, like, I don't know any better word to say, but like the girl power part of it and stuff like that. Like, it was authentic. I didn't feel like it was a cash cow. I didn't feel like it was something to just, oh, let's throw this in there to make money. I just feel like it was overall good storyline. And I think you had female characters that were pretty likable, but also had problems, and seeing them work through that kind of stuff. I thought the fact that it being PG-13 and those 12-year-olds and those like 14-year-olds could go see it without not, really needing their parents or so. I thought that was a good choice.
And I remember when it came out, it was kind of in the zeitgeist. Everybody was talking about this movie. Maybe it was the marketing, just the doll was kind of sassy. They kind of leaned into that when they promoted it. And I remember even SNL did like a parody sketch on it that was really popular. So I think it kind of blew up because of that, and just word of mouth. It was one of those ones. I looked on Letterboxd, and like almost all my friends gave it like a 1 or 2. And I'm like,
really?
What the hell? And it's like, I guess it just didn't click with people, but they went and saw it. So at the end of the day, I guess it did make enough money. What did I just say? There was a bunch of sketches about it. People were talking about it a lot, and then people were waiting for that unrated cut. And so it was like kind of inevitable. And they even kind of teased it at the end of that first one. They're like, oh, even though she's defeated, she's still in the system. She's like in the other robot. From Flubber or whatever the fuck it was supposed to be. And it's like, ooh, like
batteries, batteries not included.
Yeah, exactly. Like a classic horror teaser at the end there. So it was kind of cool to see them actually execute on that, or attempt to execute on that in this sequel.
Well, the crazy thing is, okay, so this follows the classic horror, the horror method, low budget. So they did the first one for about $12 million. But here's the thing, it made $180 million.
How do you not make a sequel? I'm sorry.
Right?
You got to think of something. Get a pen and paper out, start writing. I don't care. Just make it, right?
Well, and here's another cool thing. So last week, me and Becca went down on vacation, and we actually got to hang out with Dusty, and we actually went to Universal Studios. Dusty from Flicks and Friends podcast,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
went to Universal Studios, and dude, so they had a parade, and there was M3GANs in the parade.
Were they dancing?
Yes. It was like 6 girls in the schoolgirl uniform, all dancing.
Oh my god!
Because it's a Universal movie. So
sure, yeah. Oh, they remind you that on the Blu-ray every time you pause it for more than 5 minutes. I noticed this on a couple Blu-rays recently. Universal, a Comcast company. I'm like, okay, I guess that's better than just leaving it on pause and getting screen burn. But anyway, continue. Sorry, Logan, that was a weird.
No, you're fine.
But
I thought that was crazy. And we're like, I mean, I don't know. Like, we went there and I was like, I'm sorry, but like that marketing, that got me. And there was, I mean, don't get me wrong, there was like M3GAN 2.0 stuff everywhere. And I think this was the week, this was Tuesday. No, so it was a Monday. So I think it was coming out that Thursday. You know what I mean? So like they were like amping up for it and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh my dude, I think that kind of stuff is cool. That kind of like those kind of like marketing campaigns and stuff like that. Like, personally, like I feel like I don't get upset about stuff like that, to be honest. That reminds me of older, like it's kind of like so I worked at a movie theater, and then like we would get the most random promotional stuff. We used to have a drawer just full of promotional pins, and one of my favorite was this giant Congo pin. I was like, why would someone make something for Congo?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great movie.
No sesame cakes, but we got big pins, right?
Yeah. But yeah. So, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, Smile recently comes to mind. Another, the first and second one, they kind of did that campaign where they had, it was like a different sporting events, like baseball games. They had people just smiling awkwardly in the audience, or even at like public events, just to really get buzz up on the movie. So yeah, you're right. I do like seeing that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, and the thing is like there were certain things that the first one like hit that I do feel like I understand why this blew up. Like it had super emotional scenes in a horror movie that actually you cared to see. Like I do like the little scenes, like the first time she sings to her in the first one, like I thought that was pretty cool because she's trying to like calm her down, and like I just like the way that was handled because it comes out of like completely left ball field. And then the bonding scene with like the therapist and stuff like that, I thought that was really, really well done. I mean, really well, I really think it was really well written because it doesn't feel forced.
No, and it's like kind of just the whole movie is that I guess it's supposed to be like a satire on AI to some extent, and then leaning into the killer doll motif. But yeah, you're right. There are those scenes, and like the A and B story of that. It's like of Gemma, what she's going through, and how she's juggling this new motherhood she gets after her sisters and brother-in-law are murdered in that car accident, killed in the car accident. Not brother-in-law. You know the term. It's escaping me. Is it brother-in-law?
Right. Yeah.
There you go. Anyway, the point being, and then you have the little girl. What's her name again?
I can believe not Amelia, because that's the new one. God, what is her name?
I just saw this movie and I already forgot it. Is it Katie?
Katie.
Yeah. Katie. You have her.
For some reason, I want to say Sadie, but it is Katie. Yeah, it's Katie.
Yeah, it is Katie. But then you also have her storyline with M3GAN and kind of the grief she's going through and how that's kind of it all culminates at the end. They all kind of meet in the middle, but it is really good writing and it has a lot for each character to do. There's even those little side stories with the fucking neighbor, with the dog, which that's kind of messed up, but you got to always have one of those in your horror movie. That there's always just little things sprinkled throughout, even with the boss up her ass, like, you spent how much money, and then, he gets his comeuppance at the end. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, in I will say, like, as far as when it comes for like to the writing and stuff like that. So the first one, Akilah Cooper, she's the one who wrote the majority of the first one. I mean, James Wan came up with the idea, but then she wrote the script and stuff like that. Cause he was just, spitballing ideas. And he's like, I always make all these like killer doll movies, but there's no killer dolls in the movie. There's a doll, but it's not really doing the killing. It's the demonic possessions doing the killing.
Right. Or even like the doll, like there was literally, what the hell was that called? There was
Annabelle.
Well, there's that, but the puppet one, I don't even like. Dead Silence.
Oh, Dead Silence, yes.
Kind of was not even that when by the end, spoilers. But yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and he literally says, "What if I did that, but like with the Terminator?" And it's so funny because the
Right.
second one really leans into that Terminator idea.
I mean, they do it in the first one, but it does feel more like Chucky, especially since Chucky had just right before that
Oh
done
yeah,
the update with kind of doesn't do the same thing as Megan did, but similar concepts with new technology taking over, AI being a problem. So even if it's not influenced by that, because they were at least so close to each other, it's hard not to make that comparison. And Killer Doll, Chucky.
yeah.
I don't know. Twilight Zone comes to mind too, but Chucky, I feel like is what most people are gonna think of. Sure as fucking small soldiers. That's just being you, Logan. But lost my train of thought. There I was I had a point to that. Oh, the Terminator thing. So it's like, yeah, of course, Terminator's it's gonna go into that, especially at the end of that first movie where she goes kind of, I guess, haywire, and she's just looking to kill whoever's in her way.
Yeah, I mean it's great. Like, and the thing is that so I don't know if did you ever see like because the same writer also wrote like Malignant. Did you ever see the Malignant?
Why does it sound so familiar? Is that
That
a
was that was a James Wan movie. So it was the one where spoiler alert, but it's kind of like a kind of like basket case scenario where there's a another being attached to someone and it's doing the killing.
right? Oh yeah. I do remember that now. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, and that movie was pretty good. And she also wrote a comic book show that was based off a Mark Millar comic called Jupiter's Legacy. It wasn't as good. I mean, like
That
the
was the Mila Kunis, right?
no, that's Jupiter's Ascending.
Oh,
That was
Jupiter
the that
this,
was the
Jupiter that.
yeah, that's the movie with the what's it, the Wachowski brothers, the
Oh,
Matrix brothers. Sorry,
that must be what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
yeah. So like the Jupiter's Legacy was like um the guy I don't remember his name, but he's the main actor. That's the in the most of the Transformers movies. He's that one guy that looks like all the other like. Just,
Oh, Sam Witwicky's actor. What's his face from Even Stevens? Is that who you're talking about?
oh no,
Shia LaBeouf.
no, yeah, no. It's like the military guy or whatever. Like he plays the dad, and it's like a basically like or like a retelling of like a Justice League story in
John
modern
Turturro.
time. There's like a Superman character
Okay.
and stuff like that. It's a really good book. Just the way it transitioned into the movie, like it didn't really do that well. But I mean, as far as like the concept, it was like more of a like drama and stuff like that. Not as like
Got you.
hardcore as like The Boys, but more of a drama than an action show.
Okay.
Um, but that was not too bad. And then the director, Gerard John Stone, he did the Housebound movie.
I never saw that.
I've never seen it, but I've seen it so many times on streaming. I come across it every time because it's like I'll put a picture for the viewers here, but like it's like it's like this. The poster is like these people like standing, and it's almost like a haunted house looking like movie where it's all these people like it's an oil painting of people, and then it says like housebound, and then it's like very deteriorating. If I showed you the poster, you're like, oh, I've seen that on Netflix like thousands of times.
Maybe, yeah, never actually clicked it. Now I probably should after watching both of these movies just to see the full catalog of this director.
Yeah, I will. He hasn't directed a lot, but I will say, like, I one and two, I think he's not that bad of a director. I really enjoyed his shots and the way these movies carry out.
I mean, I don't know how much that is them or the cinematographer, or hopefully a combination of A and B. But yeah, they're definitely doing some interesting things, especially in the second one.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then like there's only a couple of things I wanted to. One things I don't know if you noticed in the first one I want to talk about, but like the part like, did you ever feel like throughout this movie? I think we were talking off camera a little bit, but like there's like things that we can feel like are being pulled from other movies as like an homage or whatever you want to call it. But like in the first one, like that end scene with Bruce, and then she uses Bruce to fight Megan. That was giving me Alien vibes with like, you know, like the mech suit and stuff like that. I was like, oh, like,
yeah, get away from her, you bitch. It's basically that scene. You're right.
Yeah, it was giving me these things where it's kind of like made me feel like I think like I know what you kind of want to do, and it's pretty cool. I think personally, like and it's funny when we get the sequel. I feel like it really like dives deep into that.
It's funny if you think about that even deeper, Logan. It's in a bishop getting ripped in half by the alien queen. She rips Megan in half with Bruce.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy. Yeah, you're probably right. It has to be right.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of I feel like that has to be somewhere, like, that had to be like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
this one thing. How about we do something like that? That'd be really cool. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. Even like some of the kills, like when that the neighbor gets killed with like the insecticide, like that's got to be from something they're riffing on. I mean, it looks cool regardless, but so there's homages after homages in that movie. And again, I already mentioned Chucky a couple times. I feel like after I just rewatched it, there's at least one or two scenes in there that are Chucky adjacent, but it's escaping me now after watching the second one. But stuff like that, Terminator, like you said earlier.
Well, yeah, that first that remake of Child's Play's 100%. I mean, that is like, because at first Chucky is taking care of the kid. And that's why he
True.
does those awful things to that big fat kid. You know what I mean? Because he's picking him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it definitely, you can definitely see like, okay, but it's like, it's nice because it is still refreshing because it's still slightly did in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think again, like the attitude of Megan and the way that character was portrayed, and the dancing, and the freaking using the paper cutter as a katana, like
Yes,
shit like
yes.
that was just. I don't know if I go so far as to say it was a horror comedy. I think the second one definitely is a horror comedy, but I think the first one maybe it was like. I think they were trying to do like a not quite a slasher, but not quite a horror. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? It was kind of
No,
right that
100%.
line. Maybe just a straight horror. Now I'm kind of being repetitive with what I'm saying, but my point being is that had those comedy elements, but it didn't feel like a full comedy horror. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Whereas when we get to part two, they just said fuck it. They flipped the switch and are like, we know what we're making. The things that got popular about the first one were kind of the comedy elements and the sillier parts. So let's just lean into it for better or worse.
Yeah, 100%. And that's one thing is like, that was one thing one of my questions I want to ask you is like, how did you feel when you heard there was a sequel? And I know you try your best like to stay away from like trailers. I watched one trailer and that was it. I watched the very first trailer that came out, and then I didn't look at any other trailer up to the point of seeing the movie the other day. How did you feel about that kind of tonal shift they were going for this one?
I liked it. I mean, when they showed the first trailer, I think I was probably at another movie, and it was just like the first thing that pops up. You can't escape it then unless you run out of the screening. But it was like, okay, yeah, Megan too, sure. And it had kind of again that sass right in the trailer, like I'm back, bitch, or something. I think she even says it's like, all right. Sign me up. I'll see it. Maybe they're going for. I mean, the first one was a little cheesy. Don't get me wrong, but it's like right at the bat, the first teaser. Okay, they're turning the cheese factor up. Okay, and I'll go see it. It was nothing really beyond that. I just kind of compartmentalized it into my brain that I'm going to see this movie, and didn't really think about it much until you messaged me. I'm like, hey. I have this idea for an episode. I'm like, oh, I like Megan 1. Oh, yeah, Megan 2. Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of just the way I went into it. But not to say I wasn't excited for it, but I kind of went into it expecting if you're going to do a sequel to the first one, and I think either that first or second trailer, they show some of the fights that happened in this film. I'm like, oh, okay, this is basically Terminator 2 Megan version. I'm like, all right, sign me up doubly now.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. Like soon as I saw that trailer and I was like, T2. Okay. I'm on board. I'm
Their
on board.
version. There, I don't want to say it's as good as T2, at least not for me. But it was a very interesting approach. Because again, like, what are you going to do? It's either going to be super repetitive if you just do the same fucking thing. I mean, Chucky, they kind of figured it out, but I don't want to just keep comparing to Chucky. I don't mean to keep doing that. But
No,
it's
you're
like
fine. Yeah.
you don't want to just do, oh, it's the doll's back. I don't know. Especially if you want to keep the same characters, it doesn't make that much sense to me. So I liked that they kind of went in a different direction.
I agree. Like, really, what do you do? You're like, if you do something the same as the original, you're just going to be like, okay, it's the Hangover 2 scenario. Same freaking movie. You know what I mean? It's just in a different location. You know what I mean?
She gets a tattoo this time, right, on the face.
So that was like, I mean, like, I am completely fine. Apparently, like, like it's not doing well. I mean, a lot of people are not seeing it, and I don't know if it's because of the tonal shift.
Maybe.
Maybe those people that were on the fence with the first one, you're like, well, the first one was okay. I definitely ain't watching this if it's an action movie. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's why.
I did wonder if people are doing what I did the first time. Are like, well, they did release an unrated version. Maybe I'll wait.
Yeah.
Do you know if this was rated R or not on that note?
This one is PG-13. As far as like if there is any like, I don't know if there will be a rated R version. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean,
So that's where I'm going to complain now, just going off of what I just said. So they're doing the same shit again. They're going to have an unrated cut. Because there's at least one kill in this movie that I was like, they didn't really show any of that.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would be shocked. I didn't realize it was PG-13. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I have AMC A-list, but I have AMC A-list. So I just clicked on the movie, didn't even look at the rating, and then just like put it right in my phone. So like, they're going to do it again, Logan. They want you to see that unrated cut. They're gonna shoot. They're kneecapping themselves.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, man. That's true, man. Uh, I get how I do believe. Now, sorry, let me take it back. I will say I do strongly believe that once this goes to digital and streaming, that the streaming views are going to be extremely high. Because I think it's just people just don't want to go see this in theaters.
That is also true. I mean, the first one came out in 2022, where we're still kind of recovering from the whole COVID era. A lot of people are still staying home. And if you do go out, it is to something like this that's kind of you go to a movie, you're not really like going out and eating lunch or something. You might be around a lot of people, but you're not talking. So maybe that's part of it too. And like I said earlier, just it was popular in the zeitgeist, and maybe the hype just died down. Maybe they waited a little too long. That's unfortunate. I think this deserves to be seen. Again, like you just kind of said, maybe those people that got burned on the first one or didn't click for them, like I was kind of saying, they just said, fuck it, fuck M3GAN 2, and they're just not buying tickets. But that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like, so I looked in a little bit more, like, so apparently the first one came out during January and had like no competition. And that's like, some people are speculating that's why it blew up so well, because there was nothing coming out.
New Jurassic Park just fucking dropped. People are probably going to see that.
Exactly. So, and that was apparently, so when the movie came out, before it hit its official release date, you know what I mean? It's still showing in certain areas and it's doing great. But as soon as it hits its release date, the numbers start going down to the point where like, then they just stop. Like no one's seeing this. Like the fact that like me and you saw it, basically a week after it's been out, and like, like it's, don't get me wrong, I go to a theater where there's like no one ever goes to. So it's like, that's not a good depiction of like seeing movies and stuff like that, as far as like, like who's in my theater, because usually there's like me and like two other people, to the point where like I just like start talking to them like after the movie's over. I'm like, what did you think about it? Because you're the only people here.
Yeah, at that point, right? We had a decent amount of people in it tonight, actually. But not a full crowd, but more than you would usually expect. So it's kind of, again, I don't want to just sound like a broken record. It's just shocking that people aren't seeing this. Maybe just too much coming out. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately over on Movie Dumpster, where it's just like, I wish I had more time. I mean, that's why I got the fucking A-list, because you could see 4 things in a week, but it's like, when can I go do that? And it's like, the popcorn's so expensive now. Maybe that's also a deterrent. And that's always been a thing. But even in recent years, I think it's gotten way more expensive.
I will say the popcorn bucket's pretty cool. It's like the robot version of her, where she's wearing like the special go-go suit and stuff. And it's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, the face comes off like basically before she gets the face on, kind of thing. It's like kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Dusty sent it to me, like it sent a picture of it to me. I was like, dude, that's pretty cool. That's a good one.
That's a good way to do it. The Jurassic Park ones are out. Those are pretty cool too. Like a footprint of a dinosaur or something. Why not?
Well, also 28 years later came out too. That crushed it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Everyone was going to see that. You know what I mean?
Everyone wanted that Skull Mountain popcorn bucket or whatever the fuck that was. Drink cup. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it, to be honest.
I want to see it. I just
I do want to see it. Yeah.
I'm a weirdo. I'm like, I gotta watch 28 days and 28 weeks again first, because I gotta remember what happened, even though I'm sure it's not relevant at all. But I do want to see it. It has intrigued me. They've been talking about it a long time, that they might make it, and they finally did. So,
well, that is another crazy thing. Is like, as far as when you come to like what I've been hearing is that's another movie. There's a complete different movie.
Yeah.
Than the other. I mean, you had the first one, and then the second one wasn't really I think the second one's far more superior than the first one, and that's just my personal opinion, because it's definitely kind of a different movie.
No, it is.
The way the story's being told is completely different, and then the third one is the exact same thing, completely different. Like,
sure,
still same universe, but a different story altogether. Because how everything's playing out. And it's called, and it's funny because like that one has got like a bunch of mixed reviews online right now. And as far as like when you go to like the reviews for M3GAN, it actually has good reviews. It's just no one's seen it.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
Yeah, because the first one, the reviews for this one are better than the first one, which I thought it's literally rated higher than the first one.
That's hard to do, especially in a horror movie. I mean, any genre, but especially horror sequels. I feel like people scrutinize them more.
Oh yeah, 100%. Once you get that sequel, the people start pulling out the magnifying glass and want to pick at things. All right, before we talk about the movie and break it down, you want to do a little plot crunch for us?
I think I could do that. We do the block crunches over at Movie Dumpster 2, Logan. That sounds familiar to me. I think I even did it on one of the episodes I came on for your main show for Children of the Corn. I don't know if I did a good job, but I think I did it there too.
Oh, you read the box on ours, yeah.
Box. Well,
but you did great. You did great.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So M3GAN 2, she's defeated at the end of the first one, supposedly. And I think it's 2 years later. Gemma, who kind of invented the M3GAN robot, now is anti-AI, and that's how she kind of got out of a major lawsuit. Is she kind of is changing her ways, but she's still not paying attention to her daughter, Katie, and she's still neglected. She misses M3GAN. And lo and behold, the government somehow got their own M3GAN and modified it to be a weapon. Shocker to nobody. And it's out of control. They need someone to stop it. So more or less, she built a new fucking M3GAN, but puts the original AI's intelligence in it. And then it's kind of a situation where they're wondering if they can trust M3GAN. Of course, the little girl trusts her again, but nobody else is really sure if they should. But they know they need her to defeat this new intelligent super intelligent robot, Amelia, played by Elizabeth Olsen, which I was shocked to see. I was like, holy shit, the Scarlet Witch. But yeah, and then they have kind of a Terminator showdown, like we kind of alluded to earlier. And that's basically the gist. I mean, there's a little bit more to it than that. It gets kind of twisty-turvy. With some of the characters that you may see coming, you might not see it coming. I think I saw at least one or two of them coming out. If we're actually going to talk about it, but it was a pretty well spun tale, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, yeah, I agree. I think as far as like when it comes to overall story, I will say the story works. It is a basic AI story.
Right. That's probably the only thing that really hurts it, right?
Yeah, but the one thing I do, it's not okay. The one thing I will say, like, it's not. I like the choices, but the fact that of like reality of it would not like the fact that like how in the movie where, this sense of actual caring that M3GAN actually has for Katie. The fact that how they lean into that, but the reality, like AI won't give two shits if you're alive. You know what I mean?
Again, it's like a T2 situation. I know in the extended cut, they actually show John change the chip so that he can feel things.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just go off theatrical cut where it just happens naturally. That's what they're just trying to do. And they kind of do it a tiny bit in the first one. It still makes no sense. But for the sake of the movie, yeah, you're right. You kind of have to just be like, all right, sure. That works. That's scientific. Sure.
Yeah, that was the one thing. The one thing I did write down is kind of like the same thing that I feel like in Batman movies where like, just don't think about it. Just don't think about it. Just
I mean, you can, but
you're just gonna ruin if you think about it. Like when Batman Begins, where he builds that whole entire cave, like this Bat cave, and you're like, I'm sure you had to hire some contractors to come in there. There's no way you did all that yourself, Bruce Wayne. And they're like, what happens to those contractors? Like, what you building in here, Mr. Wayne?
Yeah, where I always think, I just rewatch it. It's still a classic, but fucking Batman 89, where it's like, you've been training how many years to be Batman? I mean, this is a theme in a lot of the movies, and it's like, but you're going to give it up for a woman. And also Alfred just brings fucking Vicky Vale down there with no like pre-approval. He's like, all right, yeah, I'm just revealing your secret identity, Master Bruce. Deal with it. All right, that's kind of ballsy, Alfred.
All right. So with the like you said, so the movie opens up. We are like in some overseas country where we get introduced to Amelia, which is this new high-tech robot that's very similar to M3GAN, and she's on a mission. And she's trying to intercept well, no, she's trying to save a scientist that is being held against his will to create some kind of neurotoxin crap. Um, and she's basically been set up and like trained by the government to save him and bring him back. But, unfortunately, she completes her mission, but then goes rogue at the end of her mission.
Right. And also, I'd just like to correct that I totally thought that was Elizabeth Olsen. That was not a joke. I just looked it up. That is not fucking Elizabeth Olsen.
I didn't want to say anything. I was like, you know what? We'll keep on going because I don't know her name, but I know it's the girl from Asuka. That's all I know.
Yes,
Like, oh, that's the girl from Asuka.
Ivana Sakno. I am sorry. I really thought, hey, over on Movie Dumpster, this hasn't happened in a hot minute, Logan, so you're a part of history now. I totally thought that was fucking somebody else. But hey, Ivana, you did a great job. I'm sorry.
No, I will say she did do as a new character. That's pretty cool. I will say the Amelia character's pretty rad with being completely different from Megan, but also like, oh, you're introducing a new character that we kind of at the end of the movie kind of might care about,
Yeah, and then I have it just because I have it pulled up to like, it means autonomous. I can't say that word. Autonomous military engagement, logistics, and infiltration android because it's always got to actually mean something.
Oh yeah, the acronym. Yeah.
That's kind of funny though.
But yeah, so all of a sudden she just goes freaking rogue and starts killing the scientist, and then like this, and it's funny because like it's kind of like because they're doing this whole little like it's almost like a like not a show tell, but like at a what's the word I'm looking for? Like where they a demonstration or whatever for like a higher up. It's like, oh, look what we've been working on. Look how like successful it's been. And then like right during the demonstration, shit just goes haywire.
Yeah, which I think is supposed to mirror like one of the scenes in the first movie when the boss comes in and she's spent all the money on the M3GAN doll instead of the new toy.
Yeah.
It's very similar to that where like they get caught with their pants down and they don't know how to react because it's like the Homeland Security person. And it's like, oh shit, everything glitched. Oh, that's not supposed to happen. And then it's like Amelia's looking at the camera and it's like, oh shit, she's sentient. Oh, that's not supposed to happen. And then it's like, power turned off. And then she's like, she knows they're there. I don't know. It's pretty fucked up, but it's like, this main cop character, FBI character, I forget what his name is, but he's like stunned. He's like, he like can't believe it.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I thought that was great. Like he's like the perfect like asshole character in this movie. Like it's funny because like he just like all his mannerism, even to that mustache that the way he just looks. He just looks like an old like. I just think like 80s cop movie asshole.
Yeah, he's played by I believe this is Tim Sharp. He's pretty funny. Yeah, he's super incompetent, and every time he thinks he's about to kind of get a lead, he fucks something up either for them or he gets attacked. It's like he's incompetent.
Yeah. So we cut to it's 2 years later. And we get basically caught up where Gemma and Katie are at currently. She's speaking to her therapist again. So we get the same actress who plays a therapist reprises her role. Explain like everything that's going on where like she's been doing. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't write it down, but she's been doing the martial arts that Steven Seagal has been most popular known for doing.
Yeah, like Taekwondo or something. Yeah,
it's the most least aggressive type of self-defense, apparently. Is it Jeet Kune Do or something like that? I think it's something like that.
I don't usually ever do this pulling shit up, but because I already had it pulled up, Logan, let me just see if the Wikipedia says
I think it was Jeet Kune Do or Jeet Kune Do or something like that.
Yeah, we'll just say that. I can't find it. But yeah, it's fucking funny as hell. And maybe that's where that campiness factor kind of goes up a little in this one. Like the Seagal shit. She's got like the poster in her locker. It has a good kind of punchline at the end there, but it is kind of like, all right, we're really leaning into the Seagal shit. All right, sure, why not? But it also kind of shows like when she's talking to her therapist how like Gemma, like she's better, but she still isn't really there. She's out doing her own thing. She's like an activist. She's anti-AI. She's doing talks at conventions. She's getting chummy with this activist, Christian. who's again it gets anti-AI because of all the things that could happen. Because look what happened with M3GAN, which again probably right about that. But she's kind of almost like Loomis in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, where he's got stars in his eyes, kind of
Oh
similar.
yeah, that's a
Not
good
as bad
comparison.
as that. In that movie, he's just turned into a major asshole. Here, the character is painted in the light like she's kind of forgotten what this is all about. She's kind of reverting into her old ways. She's forgetting about her daughter. Not quite literally, but it's kind of presented that way, that Katie
Oh yeah.
feels forgotten about once again.
Yeah, she does a complete 180. She's a completely different character. This person that used to be all pro robotics is now not anti robotics, but anti artificial intelligence. Based off, the stuff that she invented is now something that she's shunning people away from doing. The original M3GAN was like, you're going to take away parenting from the parent, and now she's like, should you really be giving your kid a cell phone? It's like, okay, like, all right, like, I'm not really liking you right now because you're being kind of like
Well,
you
she's
can't
preachy.
just yes, preachy. It's very
Yeah.
preachy. She's got a book deal and stuff like that. But the thing is, it also cuts back to her partners, the other guy and girl, and they're like slumming it while she's like making all this money from her book deals and stuff like that. While they're like, because they're partners,
Right.
but she like basically vetoes everything that they want to do. And they're currently working on this like exoskeleton suit to help with like construction workers and stuff like that, which later in the movie they're like, did you not see like artificial soldier written all over this before you made it?
I thought it as soon as he fucking was walking around, and Carl, I think his name is, him and Tess both come back from the last one. They're like the assistants. Yeah, that was funny as hell. He's like walking around. He goes to sit down. And it's like the electronics let him sit and shit. But yeah, no, Logan. They said that in the movie. I was like, yeah, no. Sean in the theater was thinking, okay, when is a machine going to control that? Or someone grab a gun and, jump 100 feet in the air or something.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, well, I was just rewatching Death Machine, and that's what the
Oh, yeah.
the first like the soldiers that don't really they shit the bed are wearing a like exoskeletal suit with a chip in it. And
Oh
shit like
yeah,
that.
I kept thinking of later on in the film, I kept thinking of Metroid, especially some of the outfits that Amelia has. It kind of looks like a suit almost
Oh yeah, yeah.
of
I will
armor.
definitely say the vibe in this movie is very like it is that very like techno synthwave vibe. It doesn't really have a synthwave score, but you can tell the vibe and the atmosphere that they were developing for this movie. I like it too because
It has like that 80s twang to it, or like that fantasized 80s we've been getting a lot. Not as much in recent years, but when Stranger Things first blew up, that we were getting a lot of.
Yeah, and the thing is, it doesn't go too like deep, like European style, like a John Wick movie and stuff like that, where you're like, no one's going to this fucking nightclub. What kind of this nightclub doesn't exist where people are just getting murdered and people are too busy dancing with ecstasy and shit like that. Didn't even notice someone's being like strangled with a knife beside them.
They do notice when the person's head doesn't spin, but yeah, they missed all that, right? Yeah.
But yeah, so like they're developing this exoskeletal suit and stuff like that, and then there's this guy that's going to like invest into it, and they're trying to have a meeting with him, and he comes to check it out, and like it doesn't really go well because the suit itself freezes, and they have to reset it to get it to start working. But then it also like it starts performing correctly, but then it starts to glitch, and the guy ends up accidentally punching the investment guy in the face.
Yeah, and so then they're like left down to like this last asshole, like the last rich guy willing to invest, and he's somebody who's like basically he's got like full cyberpunk 2027 or 2077. He's like got the fucking like AI chip in his head. He's like can see virtual screens we can't and stuff. He comes in on like a wheelchair, like Frieza floating in. He's like, all right, yeah, you want to invest with me? Why won't you invest with me? They're like, because you're fucking creepy. He's like, no, really? What for real? It's like, well, besides that, we just don't think you should put AI in your brain. Doesn't seem like a good idea. And he's like, come on. Starts writing the check.
Yeah, it's Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords. I mean, his first name's Jermaine. Yeah. I don't know his last name, but like this he was in Men in Black 3, I think it was, or whatever. His character is pretty hilarious, and that's like once he kind of gets introduced, like You can definitely tell this is a completely different movie. There's a
Oh
lot more
yeah.
comedy. There's more slapstick stuff in it, which there wasn't really like any. There was funny humor, but there wasn't any like slapstick stuff in the first one.
Maybe one thing, but I'd have to think about it. You're right. Yeah, not really. And this one, it's like even him trying to like when he's frozen, that's kind of slapsticky. And when he goes to do the sit down with the exosuit on, that's kind of funny. Like you're right, it's kind of starts getting peppered in there. And then this guy's like, "Oh yeah, you don't think this technology works?" And he fucking stands out of his chair like Charles Xavier or
Yeah.
something. I'm like, "Ooh, okay." Now they're impressed.
Yeah. So he comes in. He's been coming after Jenna for quite some time, and she just doesn't want to work with him, because once again she's on her new shit where she's like, no, you're all about AI, and you want to implant this stuff into people's brains. And like 33%, I think she says, like people that you did on this, or 33 people on the studies or whatever, end up having like almost permanent brain damage from using this new chip. They're like, but that was early stage. We've success. Look what we can do now.
Yeah, right. And he's like his own guinea pig kind of thing. And it's like, all right.
Yeah. So she ends up turning him down or whatever. We cut back to makes her way back to the house, and then we see some more chit chat with Christian. Is that what it is? Christian?
Yeah, that's how they say it.
Her new like male interest or whatever, and Katie and whatever. Like they're all, like, you can tell like they all three pretty much get along. Like he's playing kind of like this, like he's doing really good at being like that person in between like Gemma and Katie, with like kind of like, oh, you need to see her perspective and stuff like that, kind of helping with the family dynamic and stuff like that. It feels genuine, and like it feels nice. It doesn't feel forced or anything like that.
The only tension really, and Katie talks about this, is because I think I might even have mentioned earlier, because now they're together, they're off sometimes doing these events and they kind of forget about Katie. I think even in this scene here, Katie's an afterthought. She gets picked up late because they're doing some kind of charity event and they're late.
Yeah.
They miss the meeting, or they almost miss the meeting because she's bullshitting with that. Not that it's not important work, but it's not like her business with her friends and her assistants. They've been, like you said earlier, they feel kind of like they don't matter. Their opinion doesn't matter. Because even in that scene, like she's like, no to the check. And they're like, well, we would have liked to have maybe like at least considered it instead of just ripping it up instantly. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that dynamic too, carried over from the first movie, and they expand on it.
Yeah, kind of almost like she like just kind of like, it's still her personality. Like she like kind of like steamrolls everything. Like she's still in the day wants to do what she wants to do.
Exactly.
And that was one of her character flaws. And in this one, towards the end, we kind of get to see her actually work on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that it wasn't like they kept that and you're kind of like, oh, no real character growth there. But then it was actually a plot point. So it's like, okay, that kind of worked actually.
Exactly. Like some of the decisions that they make, like I don't know like really the best way to say it, but all I'm saying, it feels authentic. Like it
does.
It makes sense. It's not there to, you can tell when something's just added just so it can be a little snippet, just so you can pull from it later.
Yeah.
This is actually weaved into the story and how each character acts. So like when we have these scenarios that take place in the movie, like I guess the only word I can think, it just really feels authentic and real to true to that character.
No, I would agree.
So they end up going to bed, and they end up hearing like someone like breaking into their house and stuff like that. And they don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh my God, that was crazy.
Yeah, 100%. And then you find out that the house which is a smart house. And they make it clear she's living in a home that she should not be able to afford at all.
They keep bringing that up. Yeah, I mean, it's relevant later, but they mention it a bunch of times. I'm like, all right, is this a plot relevant thing they keep shoehorning into conversations?
Exactly.
Like, oh, how do you afford this? It's like $3,000. Oh, I have a landlord. Oh, it doesn't seem like they actually exist. Have you ever met this landlord? She's like, now that you thought, actually I haven't. It's all been online.
Yeah, he was like, I think he uses it for the money laundering or whatever. So she's just like okay with it. Mind you, I feel like if she really wanted to look into it, she could. She's smart enough.
I mean, yeah, that's a plot hole if there ever was one, but I'm kind of okay with it because of what happens.
So these people start breaking into the house, and Gemma starts getting notifications to let her know, like, you need to do this and this and this. And she's like, what the hell's going on here? So she finds out the house that she lives in is kind of like Smart House from the Disney movie or whatever.
That's what I thought you were talking about. Yeah, the original movie with Katie Siegel.
So it's like that, where like it's this AI house somewhat, and you find out that Megan's subconscious is in the house.
Right, I guess like the teaser at the end of the first movie.
Exactly, because you see that robot show up again, like the virtual house robot or whatever that
LC.
opens drawers and stuff. Yeah, yeah, LC. So she's like trying to like direct her and stuff like that, and then like where to go and what to do while these people break into her house. And then also she starts using the technology to start to defend them. And like we said, whereas we don't understand what's going on, and they're trying to get to a safe place, and then you find out it's the FBI breaking into her house.
They're actually like there to get her because they have a warrant, but also they're there to help her at the same time. You find out, but this one FBI guy, I don't know how he's even fucking alive. He gets like shot with the the stun gun, and then she's like turning the water on him. He's getting heavily electrocuted. I'm like, is that guy alive? The other ones just get the shit beat out of him, but that one in particular, I'm like, where's the body bag?
Well, I thought that one guy broke his neck when he goes and hits the stairs. I'm like, his neck's broken.
They make a point to show his nose broken the rest of the movie, so at least some damage was done for sure.
But yeah, we find out that so the FBI informs her, which they do the worst way to inform her. But yeah, by breaking into her house. But they inform her that the Amelia robot has went rogue, and all the developers that worked on developing the robot are all dead.
It even gassed like the fucking lab and like deleted all the files about her. It's like, all right, this thing's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, it uses that same neurotoxin that it found to kill everybody in the lab that it goes to. And then the reason why they're coming to her is because apparently the specs that they were used to build Amelia were based off of Megan's like original blueprint, and they believe that the fact that she's going rogue, that she must have something to do with it.
Right, and it's going to kill her and her associates probably. But the thing is, they also suspect her on some level because they're like, you must have sold it to the Chinese or the Russians. Like, you're not clean on this. And Megan keeps texting her, like, from inside the house, like, if you admit I'm here, I'll make this worse, and like threatening her. So there's like a gag with the cell phone chirping, and the guy looks at it and he doesn't see any of the messages because Megan just deletes them.
Yeah.
But he still steals her phone. He's like, I'm going to take this and get to the bottom of this. And she's just like, okay. And then I think that leads to her like talking to fucking Megan. Like Megan comes up like a billboard, like in her living room or something. I guess she's got TVs.
Yeah, the AI ghost. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It kind of is like that. Yeah. Like a little bit like a ghost. I did think the CGI here, I don't know. Maybe they were stretching their budget a little bit, but I thought it looked a little shitty. But maybe it's just me. I think it looked a little better in the first one, but maybe they were saving their money for other sequences. It was fine. It was just a digital version of her. I guess they get the point across.
Yeah, I agree. Like some of the stuff that they did, and like you didn't have to do that. Like I feel like I definitely feel like to be honest, I feel like it would have been easier, like more cost effective instead of like maybe just the projector part, but the part where she shows up on the TV, I'm like, that looks like that one. It wouldn't look like that. You know what I mean? Like the projector's fine when it shows up on the projector and stuff like that. Like that makes sense that she could project but like when you do the TV part, I thought that was kind of crappy. I was a little worried, to be honest, because when I first saw the trailer, I told you I was game on, but I did notice, like, man, some of the CGI looks rough. But I think it was that first trailer. You know what I mean? Sometimes the trailers come out before the film's even finished, and they clean up that stuff. Like,
true.
One of the biggest things was the first Superman trailer, the James Gunn Superman one, where Superman gets hit with a bottle, he flinches. And like with Superman, he wouldn't flinch.
They fixed it, yeah.
Yeah, and the third trailer that came out, they fixed it with CG. They fixed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say I even go back to like one that always comes to mind for me is this is an old one, but Cloverfield, when they first announced it, like they had the Statue of Liberty had hit the street. It looks like shit if you go back and watch that, but when they did like the more official trailer, like 6 months later, they cleaned it up, and it was like, oh shit, that legitimately looks like the Statue of Liberty head. So yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
Yeah, it was mainly my biggest pet peeves in that first trailer view was it was mainly Megan's face, and I was a little worried. But then actually, personally, I think the movie itself, when it is Megan being Megan, like when they do the like the I guess they are, because I know they used animatronics and prosthetics for the film. Um, definitely in the first one they used a lot of animatronics when it
Oh
wasn't,
yeah,
and then mask, because that little girl who plays Megan did a hell of a job playing her.
I
But
think it's the same person this time too.
yeah, she comes back, which makes sense where she goes, I want to be taller because that girl's taller now. Like it's perfect.
Yeah, and also
um
also the girl character Katie is taller, so it's also
yeah,
she wants to be a little older. It makes sense in universe also. Yeah.
yeah, it's great, like the explanation for it, like yeah, it makes sense. um but I was a little worried, but like after watching maybe like most of the like facial features and stuff like that, I'm like, it does for me personally. I'm like, okay, it doesn't look like pure CGI. It does look like a rubber mask, so I was okay with it.
Yeah, and just the more I'm thinking about that as you were talking, I wonder if they almost maybe I'm giving the movie too much fucking credit by even saying this, but maybe that was an intentional choice to make when she was creating the avatar of herself was a little bit lower polyed, less polygons, let's say, intentionally to give the effect this is obviously a digital asset. Or
Hmm.
maybe I'm giving them too much fucking credit for that. Maybe they just didn't want to use the whole budget on those sequences. But regardless, she looks great later when she's actually in a robot form. But some of those other scenes we were just talking about, it's like a little rough.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
I think when she has like that wig on during that club scene you hinted at earlier, I think maybe some of the close-ups on that look a little bad. But again, what did you just say? They're trying to go for this doll-like appearance. It's not supposed to look 100% real to begin with. So I don't know. Again, I don't know how much of that is artistic interpretation or just they didn't have enough time. So it just is what it is. Like I have no clue.
Yeah, apparently they had a whole brand new type of lip sync technology for the animatronics in this one. They brought in like a whole like this whole new like more detailed. I don't know if this is the first movie it was used in, but it is like something completely different than they used on the last film. That's supposed to be much
Ah.
more realistic on getting actual true lip sync for
Mhm.
the animatronics. Um,
It
to the
looked
point.
good.
Well, they what they did in this time is they pre-recorded all her audio and
Oh.
sequenced it. So basically, the other actor would act, and then this would just be make sure that she would be on beat with the animatronic instead
Got
of
you.
while doing it while she's speaking, kind of like a Ninja Turtle thing. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I want to watch the behind the scenes now. I didn't realize that. That's pretty cool. I don't know. That's a way to do it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it was kind of like I think they did something similar to that, like with like Gremlins 2 or something like that,
Oh,
like
okay.
where some of the sequences were pre-animated just to make sure that it would seem realistic when the brain gremlin was speaking and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so basically Megan explains to her how everything happened and how she survived, and then she ends up getting them to trust her to show her like this kind of like safe room that she's created, and she ends up
The Bat
basically,
Cave,
yeah, basically like her own version of a bat cave,
the Meg
and,
Cave.
and then gets the other two people to help her, and they end up like locking her into the bat cave, like with all the other like the other two developers and stuff like that, because the Amelia at one point attempts to kill uh uh kill Gemma by using her new, oh sorry, not kill Gemma, but tries to kill the other girl who helps her with, like while she's babysitting Katie, by using the exoskeletal suit. So like they know they're not
Oh
safe.
yeah, that was kind of a cool scene though, like with the electricity or whatever. Like she uses it through the internet, and it's like that was I was kind of shocked that they did that, but it kind of made sense by the end of the movie. But it's just this fucking skinny thing walking around choking her. I don't know, it was kind of creepy.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, so while all that's happening and stuff like that, like Gemma has made her way to like a Met Gala kind of like scenario to talk to that investor and stuff like that, because they want to get his kind of like technology, because Megan knows a way where she can shut down Amelia. Um,
Right, right.
but the whole point is she needs to get to that technology before Amelia can get to that technology, and then like adapt it to her like AI, and then she will low key somewhat be like not indestructible, but much harder to turn off, basically.
Yeah, she basically will turn into Job from fucking Lawnmower Man. But you're right.
Yeah.
There is that whole sequence at the gala where like M3GAN is like inside this like little fucking like toy that can't really move around much. There's a lot of good gags with that because they don't totally trust her yet, so they don't want to just immediately give her the killer robot body. And they hack in and they fuck up her plan, but she kills like the AI guy who's like in the wheelchair earlier. And it's kind of a cool scene where he basically is forced to see his own death. I actually kind of like that quite a bit. Um, the not Elizabeth Olsen robot Amelia kills him, and basically like she shows like in like a kind of like a like trying to throw his dick around kind of scene, Logan. I love this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, I could turn all the power off in the city, and he does it, and you hear all the gasps outside, like,
Yeah.
whoa! And he's like, he turns it back on. He's like, I got the power, baby. And she like steals his retinal scan, and then just basically has full control of everything, could ruin the economy out of like a Mission Impossible movie or something.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%.
It's kind of crazy. Like if you really, they don't really ever perseverate on the stakes, but I could totally see like an Ethan Hunt trying to stop this shit, like in a Mission Impossible movie. I kept thinking that with that. I was like, where's the actual agent that's trying to stop this? Instead, we just have like these computer programmers, like basically trying to stop this thing that's going to end the fucking world's economy. Like, where's Ethan Hunt? Where's James Bond?
Which is funny because we were talking about earlier, like there's some similarities to where like there's some strong Batman vibes. We talk about Batman, a Bat cave, so the M3GAN lair and stuff like that.
Even Batman Begins when Alfred pulls like the chain to drop the elevator. I mean, it's not literally that, but they pull a lever in this fucking elevator lowers. Yeah. They're like, I didn't even know this was here. It's like Clue. Yeah. It's behind a painting.
But yeah, that whole technology that like he has, but technically it's not safe for him to have it. No one should have it. Right. And that's the whole point of like the Dark Knight, whereas him trying to get that technology and get rid of it, even though he invented it. You know what I mean?
At the end there with Lucius Fox, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just spying on everybody. That's a good point. Because that's like the Batcave, the Meg Cave, whatever the fuck we're calling it. Yeah, that's where she's like, she makes that deal with Meg because Katie finds Meg. And she's like rebuilt herself, Logan. She looks like the guy from Leprechaun 4. I forgot his damn name. That's gonna kill me.
I was thinking like one of those beings from Virus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's
with Jamie Lee Curtis and stuff like that. That's what it was giving me, like one of those animatronics that was in the ship. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was cool. I thought like, when that came in, and I was like, that's pretty freaking cool. I like that.
It's like Sid from Toy Story got to work on her. Like,
yeah, there you go.
Freaky looking, man.
But yeah, so basically, yeah. So after the one babysitter almost dies, that's when Megan's like, okay, no, y'all are going to my lair that I invented, and we'll come up with a game plan. Yeah. But low key, she's just like, no. My main goal is to keep Katie safe. So y'all can just stay down here for the rest of your life because that Amelia cannot get here because she doesn't know it exists.
And she's like, I got water, I got drinks, I got clothes. She drops all these fucking clothes on Carl. He's covered.
But so at this point, Gemma definitely doesn't trust M3GAN whatsoever. Katie's kind of starting to trust her, and she starts to open up to her and stuff like that. And but
especially when she sees like the quote unquote rebuilt version, she starts to feel bad. Like, shit. Like I always thought that you kind of actually had a connection with me, that it wasn't all just zeros and ones. Like I felt something, and everyone keeps telling me it was just a fucking program. So that's also part of it. That she felt that connection with the robot, and she still feels the connection. That's kind of her main beat in this film.
Yeah, Katie. Exactly. Like, yeah, it's kind of like she's not just like you said, she's not just a program. Like she goes beyond that program. And that was the thing is like, it's that low key, like, well, I was built for something, but over time I became something much different than what I was built for.
Right. Because I mean, even like the whole thing you find out, I think here, or maybe a little before this, is that like, speaking of things that have been here for a long time, it's like, oh, you know what Amelia's actually after? It's this fucking AI that was like built in the 70s that's like under lock and key in this building that's just been getting smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter for decades. And it wants to release it into the world, and it's going to destroy everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Should we have some urgency, please? They're like having a pissing contest about, well, should we build the new Megan? Should we not? Oh, I don't know. Was the check big enough?
Yeah, so that's what they get to the point where it's like, they're like, okay, so Megan knows how to stop her and stuff like that. So she's like, I can do that, but I need you to build me a body so I can do that. And they make the little joke like, this time let's make one that's waterproof, you know, because that was like,
I wish that came up at some point, honestly.
but yeah, they're building this new type of titanium body for her and stuff like that, which is kind of funny because like it's going back to that first film, like she sings that titanium song to her and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's kind of like a little funny, like little things like that. Like we get this other singing number in this one
Oh,
where
God, that was so awkward.
I loved it where instead of Megan singing to Katie, she sings to Amelia. And it's funny because like she's like
or to not Amelia, to what the fuck?
Gemma, sorry, Gemma. Sorry, Gemma. She sings to Gemma instead of Katie, and she's just like, I'm not. I don't care. Oh, you're gonna go to the chorus. You're gonna go to the chorus.
She puts her fingers like on her lips to shut her up. She goes to get up. She like pushes her back into the chair.
Yeah.
And then finally she's like, are you gonna, like, she grabs her by the face and is basically like, are you gonna do what we need you to do? Or are you gonna keep doing this like fake bullshit? And she's like, locks it. She's like, I'm gonna do it.
So they end up developing the new Megan. She wants to be taller and stuff like that. And she's got this whole new like program and stuff like that. She's faster, she's stronger, everything that you could want her to be, she is. Meanwhile,
well, she does get an inhibitor chip like Cartman in the South Park movie. She can't curse anymore, which is kind of funny for the PG-13 rating because I think they do slip one. That's how it tricked me, Logan. They did get one fuck in there, and I had just watched Unrated, which they say fuck quite a bit in. So I think I wasn't processing that was my one and only fuck as I watched it, for anyone that cares.
Yeah, there's several shits and stuff like that. But yeah, there is like only one fuck because you're only allowed one. But they end up developing her and stuff like that, and you get this new version of her. It's almost like it reminds me of like this. It reminds me of like Kill Bill. You know what I mean? Like the build up to her and her little jumpsuit and stuff like that.
Plus, even her jumpsuit is kind of reminiscent of like Kill Bill or like the Bruce Lee suit. Not the same, but it is yellow. It kind of made me think of it a little.
Yeah, they get in the games or game whatever that. Yeah. So, while you said earlier, we were learning about that new motherboard AI chip that we basically have been finding out that like Christian has been like working on.
Yeah, he's involved. He never mentioned it before. Oops.
Yeah, so he's like in this. When he was working for the self-defense agency of keeping everything safe, he's working for that same organization to keep it safe and preventing it from getting out or whatsoever. And they go to try to locate it, but meanwhile, Amelia ends up kidnapping Katie and escapes.
That's one of the big fight scenes where fucking Megan is in like that anime outfit and she's spinning and everyone realizes she's a robot because her fucking head doesn't move and the whole body spins.
Yeah, she's at this like AI convention where Christian is at and stuff like that, and that's when she wears that cool like the go-go suit or whatever, the futuristic go-go suit, and in order to we get a nice Megan number, a dance number, and so she doesn't get caught, she's forced to dance.
Yeah, I love how Gemma's like, get down from there, and then Katie's like, you know what she said, Megan? Get down. And then she's like jamming out, dancing. I'm like, all right, that's pretty funny.
Well, it's funny because I was watching a little bit behind the scenes, and they were like, they were asking her, they're like, well, we want her to dance again. Every once in a while, they'll be like, when's she going to dance again? When's she going to dance? But we want it to make sense, not just throw it in there. I'm like, in my head, I'm like the first one didn't make any sense while she would just randomly dance before she kills those guys.
Right, she was just doing it in the other one. Whatever.
But yeah, so while all this is going on, Katie ends up getting kidnapped by Amelia.
Yeah, you were saying that. Yeah.
And we get a bunch of really cool fights in because Amelia's wearing this cool new like robot like suit.
Yeah, it's like our Ultraman armor. Like, what the fuck was
yeah,
that?
like straight up like Iron Man something. You know what I mean? Like Ultron. Like it looks like really like Ultron.
That's true. Yeah, she has this fucking like spear, like this sonic spear. She
Oh, it's so
throws,
cool.
and M3GAN actually saves Christian, but the fucking like Chinese diplomat takes it right in the chest. It's like, oh, that guy's dead.
Well, and it's also funny because like she ends up getting the FBI agent, and then M3GAN like looks at his pupils. He's like, "You'll live."
It's like critical. He's gonna barely survive, but he also has like a Dragon Ball device, like a tracker. It can sense robots, and like he holds it up. And he's like, "Oh, take it!" And then M3GAN's like chasing her. And again, I'm going to mention Mission Impossible again. I just picture like Tom Cruise in some of those running scenes, like in Fallout when he's running on all the rooftops. This is M3GAN. She's running, but she's going through walls and shit. Or you just mentioned Death Machine earlier, like that movie when the Death Machine's chasing Richard Brake, trying to kill Richard Brake. It's like that. She's just pounding through walls out, going after Amelia. Breaks through a fucking window. It's pretty cool.
No, the action scenes are top notch here. And like you said, if there is going to be an R-rated version, this is definitely those scenes where you're going to see a lot of that because it shows blood splatter, but you don't see any like real penetration. You just see the splat and stuff.
True. That's a good point.
But also we find out like the FBI has these new kind of like EMP kind of like guns where they can shoot EMP charges to like stop any kind of technology.
They got that from Mass Effect. That and the exoskeleton.
Turning chrono trigger, but like was it the chrono shots?
Yeah.
But it's really funny. Like wow, like that him like he has even like like yes, of course Biden's bigger than yours and stuff like that.
Oh, the bigger gun, yeah. Of course he drops it because it's so bulky. But I also like just like I could have another Terminator reference, but they did the thing where she's like pointing the gun at Amelia, but there's like people running by, but because she's the inhibitor chip, she can't actually fire because it might kill a civilian.
Yeah,
and she finally does get a shot. We find out later because Gemma kind of grills her on it, but she doesn't take it because maybe Katie would have got shot. It's unclear, but that kind of also keeps that seed in your head. Like, is M3GAN on their side? Is she not? I was never personally swayed. I always thought she was going to protect Katie, but they want you to constantly question it. Gemma's constantly questioning it, which I mean does create the drama for the movie. So I guess it does kind of work, right?
Yeah, they review the recordings. You're like, you had the opportunity, but you didn't take the shot. You could have done it, and you like because I mean think about like your accuracy would have been enough to do this,
right?
But you didn't.
Terminator level, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like I mean, we've all seen RoboCop. You know what I mean? You shoot a guy dick through a guy. Like,
exactly.
No problem.
Not even trying. Or Gene Wilder in fucking Blazing Saddles. He's not even a robot. We saw what he did.
But so they end up going back. And they're like, okay, they've taken her to X, Y, and Z, which is where they're holding that motherboard chip, and they need to save her from there. So they're like, okay, I need to go in there, but it's cut out from all type of technology, and technology can't get in. It's all these different self-safes, and it's made to point where like only human interaction can enter certain places in certain sections of that building or whatever. So she has developed like this new type of like flesh tone hand with Christian's fingerprints on it.
They do it. It's this like creepy looking thing. They like show it on the camera and everything. She's like looking at it. She's like, "Ooh, yeah, I like my new hand."
Yeah. So and she ends up removing that neuro chip from her.
Gemma's like, "I need you to be able to actually protect my my daughter." It rips it the fuck out of the back of her head, but not before she doesn't admit this till later. But if you're paying attention, you can see she does something with that thermal, not detonator. That's from Star Wars, but like the thermal bullet or whatever the fuck they call it. It's like gone, and she was like messing with her wrist. So she's like, "Ooh, I got a backup plan just in case."
Exactly. And that was the one point, like, because we get to this big pivotal point where they break in and the data that they're getting in, because they don't understand how this person has been basically one step ahead every time, because at the beginning of the movie we hint that they've been hacked and someone's messing with their code, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
later here we're finding out that there's also something going on with their current code and they don't have full access and they're completely blacked out of like comms going in and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
the cameras go down and like Carl, that's actually kind of a funny scene. He like uses the classic chloroform, which not how it really works, but in movie logic it does. Takes out like the old guard, which I feel like it's got to be a reference to something. I just didn't recognize the guy. But then he accidentally like blows his nose into the chloroform rag and he passes the fuck out like in the air
Yeah.
vents. Funny gag, but you're like, all right, I was stupid.
Well, like it's funny, like I was saying, like this movie's got tons of humor in it, like it truly is. Like i I don't even know, like to be honest, like I wouldn't even put horror in the title of this. I mean, I really, to be honest, when you go to genres, I would just go straight up sci-fi action, to be honest, and
Yeah.
comedy.
There's so much like, especially with the martial arts shit that they kind of pepper in here once the robots actually are fighting. Yeah, I don't know what you would even classify it as. Maybe that unrated cut's got enough in there, Logan, to keep the horror on the genre. But I mean, speaking of funny shit, right after that scene where that dude passes out by his own chloroform, is M3GAN in this fucking wing bodysuit, the wingsuit. Like, all right, I guess I'm just coming in, flies out for no reason that I can think of other than they thought it would look cool, or maybe they thought it would be funny, or maybe a little bit of both. She comes off this fucking cliff running and jumps, and she's like flying around like a fucking a deflated balloon.
Well, I feel like, so sometimes I think sometimes in movies where there's scenes like this, like, as this scene is pretty well out of place. This scene deserves to be in a superhero movie, like I brought up earlier, like Batman Dark Knight. This is very Batman Dark Knight-esque, where he infiltrates that office building, gets and takes that guy, like the Chinese guy, with the intel, and it extracts him so
Yep.
he can get that, the devices and get rid of them or whatever.
Exactly.
But he uses that technology to find them or whatever. I feel like they do stuff like this, and I think it's like almost like, well, I'm gonna dip my toe in this and see how people like it, because if you like it, when 3 comes out, we can give you more of it. You know what I mean?
Well, I had the same thought now that you mention it, that like some of the action sequences, specifically this one, like you're saying, that's in there. So like when they do 3, I don't want to just repeat what you said, but yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, that makes sense too, because that's like, and you probably can feel this. You probably understand what I'm saying here. Like growing up listening to metal bands, like sometimes a metal band will have one song on the track that's completely different than the entire track,
Yeah.
but it's almost like, do people like this? Okay, when we come out with a new album, we might put more songs like that on the track if you really like it.
Right, and I definitely think, well, if it's bombing, maybe they won't get to make M3GAN 3, but I think there definitely was a thought for M3GAN 3. I mean, not that they even, I don't think there's like a teaser at the end of this one, but
no, there wasn't.
I feel like there's enough there if they want to, but we could also just call it here. But I was interested in the idea of a third one for sure.
Oh, 100%. Like, to be honest, I will say I like this movie so much. I'd go see a third one. If there was like, I don't know, you turn like what if she agrees to work for the military for a special event? Maybe this time Gemma gets taken, kind of like in Taken 2. Leslie Nielsen gets taken in Taken 2, and his daughter has to help him, like save him or stuff like that. Like, we could do something like that, and then like this scenario, and maybe Katie helps. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, or they give her like fucking T-1000 powers. Fuck it, just go all in. Now she can turn into liquid and stuff. I don't know. M3GAN specifically, not Katie. That would be something else entirely.
But yeah, so she ends up breaking in and stuff like that, and she's trying to save Katie, and this is when Gemma, Christian, and the other girl are having this discussion, like, what's going on here? Like I said, the comms are set, and they're all gone. They can't get in contact with anybody. And they're like, well, it's M3GAN. She's doing it. She's been trying to get the motherboard all along, so she can have infinite power. We're gonna completely we got to do the kill switch. Do the kill switch.
Oh yeah, that'll blow the thermal round in her arm, and
exactly. And then you find out, like what's called like the thing is we get this big pivotal point where earlier we had to have a vote to that. They did a vote because like I said, like Gemma's been steamrolling everybody and just completely making all the decisions without taking everybody's accountability in, because it is a group effort. They are a team, but she's just acting like she's not. She's already lost the last vote to agree to have M3GAN help, and now it is once again a vote, and they're like, no, 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 no. And Christian's like, give me the detonator. Give me the detonator, because I don't think that's this scenario. What if we're wrong? What if we're wrong? And then with this, the whole thing will be ruined. And then what's called, and we won't have anything to do with Amelia. You know what I mean? We won't have ways of stopping Amelia.
Right. Yes. And M3GAN's literally right at the fucking black box at this point. They're like cutting back and forth between the two scenes.
Exactly. And then she ends up handing Christian. It sounds so weird saying his name, because they make it very important to, like, his name is not pronounced Christian, it's Christian.
I think there's a reason for that I'm gonna say once you finish revealing what's about to happen.
So she ends up handing Christian the detonator, the kill switch or whatever. And he's like, thanks. And he's like, okay. And then he ends up pulling his gun out, which is the MP gun, and shoots the other girl.
Tess, yeah. Oh my God, the assistant from her best friend, essentially. That's
exactly. And then you find out it's been Christian the entire time who's been hacking everything and stuff like that, and he's been one step forward. And we get this big reveal that he has been controlling Amelia this entire time. And the best way to look at this is, I mean, it's been done before, but this is like a Watchmen scenario where, like, you're doing something completely awful that killed people's lives, but it's supposed to help in the long run of things, because people will be so scared of this they won't ever think about doing it again. And now the people that have in control of it are the most intelligent, trustworthy ones, and they get to deem what gets used by this new type of technology.
Right. He's trying to prove this is why AI is evil, by basically causing the bad thing to happen. Right. It's kind of it's been done before, but I didn't see that element of it coming. I kind of was assuming on some level that Christian would be the bad guy because of the way that he was being propped up, but then his life was constantly in danger. So it was kind of put out of my mind for a while.
Same here. I thought the same thing.
When it was revealed, I was like, all right. And then he's like, in the next scene when they're all like, not arrested, but they're captured, I guess would be the better term. And he like shows her around and is like, this is the life you could have if you join us. He's basically talking like Elon Musk, like, for this whole sequence, which I didn't really pick up on in earlier scenes. But I don't know if I feel like it has to be intentional because the cadence is kind of there, even if you ever heard Elon speak. And I feel like the Christian thing, they went with a name where it's spelled Christian, but it's Christian, because maybe I'm reading too deeply in this, but maybe because people have called him Elon Musk or something like that. Maybe that's the gag. Maybe there's an interview out there. I don't know. Or just something a pretentious person would say. They always got to get the fucking name. Hey, my name's Sean, S-C-A-N. I get seen, C-A-N. You'd be surprised, Logan, but it's not that big a deal to me. But yeah, you're right. I think you mentioned it earlier. He's like, my name's Christian, even when he's on like the news.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that they really play up this guy who's into AI, the rich guy into AI, and I just think of Elon, and it's just kind of, I don't know, maybe if that is instantly dating it, but we're already talking about M3GAN fucking 2, so I guess this movie probably in 10 years won't age well, but I did enjoy that element of it. It was kind of funny to see this kind of character trope, the way it was portrayed, and especially the sick fucking scene where he's got Gemma laying down saying, yeah, I'm going to put that AI in your brain and you'll listen to me then. And she's like, you're not even my type. And he's like, yeah, I'll my people look into that. It's like, ugh.
What is that? What is is it called Neurotrip or whatever? The Neuralink or whatever? The whole shit.
Yeah.
It's if that existed, that's what this would be.
I think it does on some level. I know there's some people doing tests in the last year or two, but this is our future. I mean, that guy that gets killed, that kind of sees his own death through the eyes of Amelia. That's kind of his thing that they show and focus on earlier. So I don't know, man. Scary.
Yeah. So like we find out, like I said, Amelia has not been actually acting on her own will. They have an entire board of scientists that are using her to do these things. So she actually has they basically have it all like slinked up to the point where she has no free will whatsoever. She's literally being a puppet.
They even have a shot of her when when Gemma's being shown around the facility. She starts like kind of looking off to the side, and they're like, "Oh, she's drifting. Fix that. Fix that." Like
Yeah.
almost comes into cognition, but not quite.
Yeah. So like we end up cutting back to the other guy scientist that felt that is end up chloroforming himself, and he ends up waking up and finding Katie, and Katie explains to him, "Oh no, it's been Christian the entire time. We need to get out of here and find Megan or whatever." But unfortunately, Megan has been trapped in that kind of like that like that like shell that's holding the AI box or whatever, and they basically like I don't know what, I guess it's those EMP wands or whatever, but they fry the shit out of her.
Yeah, out of Megan. Yeah, she does this like last ditch attack on Gemma, but she's secretly like attaching her subconscious, I guess,
Yeah.
to the AI chip when she strikes this one area. It's a little plot convenient, I must say, but whatever. Because then once Gemma wakes up, it's like, oh, Megan's body's been destroyed. She's out of commission. Now what? And it's like, oh, well, actually, she's inside the chip in your brain, and she's already figuring a plan out. It's like, all right.
Oh, it's great. And then so meanwhile, you've got Katie and the other guy, they go to the Amelia bot and they're going like, okay, we can use the Amelia bot. While that's going on, you've got Gemma waking up with Megan in her brain, and she ends up getting in the exoskeletal suit that she had earlier in the movie, and is just basically starts fighting off all these soldiers. And at one point, she ends up getting knocked out, and then Megan just takes over full control.
That was awesome. This is like the full Batman moment. Like I think you said Dark Knight earlier before we were recording, but even like the end scene when he's fighting all the criminals,
Yeah.
or like any of those Arkham games where you're just like constantly 20 guys coming at you with literally the weapon they have in this, the electric rod or whatever, cow prattle, I guess is what's supposed to be, cattle prod, I mean. Yeah, kind of a crazy scene. I kind of love the visual of she beats the shit out of like 10 or 15 of them, and then Megan's in her head like, well, let's I know you're getting into this, but we got a lot more to come. And then we see a Katie and Carl kind of I think they run in because shit hits the fucking fan with Amelia, and Amelia starts blowing everybody away with this fucking machine gun. And they're like, oh, hey, I guess you took care of that. And there's like the 20 guys that just ran in. Gemma's already fucking destroyed.
Yeah, so what ends up happening with Amelia, like, so they bring her back and they're trying to use the Megan's, because it's Megan's, is the default AI that's in Amelia. So they try to activate that and then have her bond with Katie, but shit goes haywire, and she does an auto reset, and somehow that just deletes that bonding process, and now she literally is just a rogue android at this point.
I think they even have, I forget the exact terminology, but there's like a sequence that pops up on screen showing that in that little glitch moment where she was able to have full control, like the AI activated itself conscious more or less. And it's like, oh, okay, Amelia's activated now. It's not Megan. She grabs that fucking like photon rifle or whatever that is.
Oh, yeah.
Just starts lighting up these engineers.
Well, she grabs the photon rifle and then grabs an electrical cord and like uses like, she basically turns into a laser,
right?
Like using electricity and shit and shooting out. I will say it's pretty fucking cool. And the not cinematography, but the choreograph fight and stuff like that scenes are like top notch. So and that was good. One thing with Malignant. There is a lot of fight scenes in Malignant, and they are very well choreographed.
That's a good point. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, because once the robots start fighting, because Gemma some other shit happens, but Gemma's kind of down there with Katie and Carl, and they're trying to get the fuck out of there. And like Christiani's like talking to the UN, and his interview gets interrupted by the chaos. So he
Yeah.
sets the self destruct. That's also what made me think of Metroid. There's always a self destruct sequence,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. Get back to
Alien.
the ship before it blows. Yeah.
Yeah, or Alien, and he activates it, and they kind of get no confrontation with him there. And that's kind of how he meets his demise. But then we get that final confrontation between the two robots, and it is like a full on kung fu fight scene for like a solid 5 minutes. They're going at it. It's pretty badass.
Oh, it's great. And there's this. So at one point, like it's in the trailer, but where Megan basically gets her jaw broken, and she does this like like this like preamp fight like warm up or whatever, and she looks at her and her jaw just unhinges, and then she locks it back into place, and then they just go at it. It is, dude, it is so freaking cool. Like I will say, like this last 15 minutes of this movie was the highlight of the movie for me, and I'm like I said, if they want to just use that as the blueprint for the third one, and I will say this, man, I'm going to
go all in on the action. Yeah,
they should make a third one. They should, because this movie, if people can't tell from the way I'm talking about, this movie is really good. I that's my personal opinion. Yeah,
like I said, not as good as T2. Maybe that's a high bar. Yeah. But for M3GAN 2, I thought it pretty much accomplished what they were trying to do. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, this was one of those movies that really shocked me when I went to go into the movie theater seeing it, because I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. And not the fact that I had low expectations. I just was not expecting the film that I was going to see. I was expecting it to be kind of cringe.
I mean, some of it was a little cringy, but I think, again, that was intentional, and maybe that's not going to work for everybody.
Exactly.
Like this, like the Seagal shit. Like they have the I'll mention that because that was pretty funny. Like the cherry at the end, or the punchline rather, where Gemma keeps listing Seagal movies off, and Katie's not getting it. And then when she finally does, she's like in a position to break the bad guy's arm really bad. It's like, all right, they finished that thought on that joke. They actually gave a punchline to it. It didn't just kind of peter off into nothing, because they spent a lot of time joking about it earlier in the movie. So I like that. We got the words escaping. The punchline worked, but we got the payoff.
Yeah, because she kept on. She's basically like she's giving her all these Steven Seagal movie references.
Yeah,
and she's trying to work it into her normal like. I guess I'll make the executive order.
Yeah. Doesn't want to just say break his arm, right? Exactly.
That you're above the law.
I do love how right when everything's about to go to shit, the bomb's about to go off, they do run back to save M3GAN. They deactivate it. And it's kind of this thing where it's like, well, we don't want to lose M3GAN, but we can't beat Amelia. And Amelia is now super fucking charged, like Zool from Ghostbusters. She went over to the Atari or whatever the fuck, the fax machine that has like the since the 70s has been sitting at the black box, I guess they call it, has like touched it, and his like eyes are all lit up and shit. She's like, I am a god. She's like walking towards M3GAN, and M3GAN's like, well, we got that thing, you know. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of actually a bit of a touching moment there.
Well, yeah, I like it's. Well, here's the thing, and this is the best. Like, okay, so like you with action films, you always have that climax at the end, and you get that perfect one-liner, and it's perfect. And she sat there. She goes, "I see the past, the present. I even see the future." And then she comes up to her, and she like basically crawls on her like a monkey, wraps her arm around her neck with that device around her wrist. She goes, but you didn't see this.
Yeah.
And then activates it, and it, the EMT explosion goes off and shutting everything down.
Right. And then, you think, oh, that's the end of M3GAN, but at least they saved everybody. The black box or Amelia or whatever didn't take over all technology and turn everything into paper clips or whatever that analogy was they kept bringing up, because it's the funny, like the Clippy joke at the end, which I actually thought was pretty funny for people our age. I don't know if the younger generation is going to fucking get that at all. The Clippy
the word
reference.
Processor clip,
paper clip. Yeah. That was funny as hell. Like the post credits, and of course, M3GAN lives another day in digital form. Again, like we said, leaving that fucking door open. So I don't know. Let's do it like Robot Jocks. Maybe they're in fucking mechs next time, Logan. And she's powered. She's mech powered.
I would say, like I said, like I love the movie. I thought it was great. you know what's going. I mean, the movie's over, so I'm gonna give all my like. You know,
Sure.
even though I've talked about it a lot, but I will say I love the movie. I thought it was great. I think it sucks that no one's seen this movie because this movie is so fun and it needs to be seen. And I really have this strong urge once it goes to digital and goes to like on streaming. I really do think people are going to check it out. I think the views are going to go up. I mean, just for people that are really like for people in action movies, like even the people that aren't into horror
True.
can go back and watch, this version and be like, okay, I can get down with that. You know what I mean? It does open up a whole different demographic. Now, maybe it might lose that young girl demographic that they built so much on that first one. That's the only downfall to doing something like this because my niece loves M3GAN, like loves M3GAN to death. She wants the 4-foot doll. She's 12 going on 13.
She wants a popcorn bucket.
Yeah, no, really. She loves M3GAN. She loves Annabelle. Like she loves all, like that's like her generation of stuff. Like she loves that stuff so much. I'm not gonna lie, she might not like this movie. You know what I mean? And it sucks because like maybe like that was those first M3GAN fans, you know,
the OGs,
the OGs that really enjoyed it, and maybe they were the ones that were like, "Oh, Mama, take me to this movie or whatever." Daddy, take me to this movie or whatever. Maybe that that may be acquired to more asses and seats from the original. You're not really going to get that with this one, but I do strongly feel like it is a better movie personally.
No, and I would agree. It definitely is better than the last one. I just watched them back to back, and obviously there's recency bias that does exist. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a perfect movie, but I thought it was very good, and it kind of escalated each situation in a way. Maybe I was expecting some of the escalation, but all of it was interesting, regardless. I don't know. Pretty much kind of said what I had to say. I don't know. Is this kind of like a situation too, like we were talking about earlier, where just people aren't going to the movies? Like Thunderbolts, I thought that was really good, and then apparently, well, a lot of people saw it, but not to like Marvel's level. Like they were expecting more. So again, is it just? I don't know if this is even a thing, but theater fatigue, where people got back to theaters after a couple of years after COVID, and they're like, "Fuck it, I'm not going back." Had too many bad experiences. I mean, you do read about that online. Sometimes people get burned. I don't know what it is, Logan. People need to see this movie. Well, maybe needs a strong word, but I'm recommending it if you like the first one, or if you just like horror movies that are just like, there's like Logan said, it's basically an action movie hidden under a horror wrapping. Like again, there's a little bit in there, but maybe that unrated cut will turn the red on a little. It doesn't have a ton of that in here, but it is definitely an action movie, and I would even say a bit of a thriller, honestly. I mean, it's not the most thrilling movie, but there's always something happening that you may not be expecting. You might have an idea of what's going to happen, but you might not know the whole picture.
Well, to be honest, like, and I might, like this, I don't think I'm speaking out loud, but I will say, you brought up that Joe was like, this movie's not for me. I bet if Joe watched this, he would have had a fun time. If he actually would sit down and watch it, it's hard not to like really
prepare him for it. Yeah. Like if he knows what it is, sure.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, I will say like it, even though I was talking to Dusty from, he's like, yeah, I'll wait for it where it streams. I ain't going to theater seeing that. But then after I saw it, I was texting Dusty. I was like, dude, this movie is rad. You got to see it. This movie is rad. Knowing Dusty, I'm like, you're going to like it, man. You're going to like this one.
He probably will, actually. Like that, when you put it that way, right after seeing it, you're like, okay, the certain things still might not work for you, but the majority's there, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for us for today. What do you got going on for the Movie Dumpster Crew, Sean?
Right now, we're kind of going through our summer of Lovecraft. We're doing a little bit of a theme in June and the beginning of July here. We're kind of going through some H.P. Lovecraft inspired movies. We already put out The Dunwich Horror from the 70s. We covered that. We also did Necronomicon, which was a anthology H.P. Lovecraft movie. If you haven't seen that one, it's kind of hard to find, so check that out. And I don't know if it's out yet, but we also are going to be doing an episode on the Unnameable 1 and 2. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And then we're also part of this month of action that Bring Me Back Your horror movies and action movies, and the guys over at B Action are doing. So we're going to have a Mutant Hunt episode coming after all that. And we got a few more things on the horizon, but that's kind of what we got going on over on the dumpster. And if you want to check us out, we're over on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, Movie Dumpster or moviedumpsterpodcast.com. Come check us out. We do stuff like this. I've been on the show before, like I've said. I think Joe's been on the show. So if you like what you see here, come on over.
And that's it for today's episode, M3GAN 2.0, directed by Gerard John Stone. If you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. We're so close to getting those 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Really appreciate if you took the time out. And if you're new to the channel, hit that little subscribe button, help us out. Also, what did you think about the episode? Do you think M3GAN needs a sequel? I don't know. You know how I feel about it, but what do y'all feel about it? So let us know in the comments what you think. And also, for our new updates for the channel, if you're digging it, check out our website at www.videovillaentertainment.com for all the new and upcoming episodes and all the information about what's going on here at the podcast. So until next time, I'm Logan.
And I'm Sean from Movie Dumpster.
And thanks for renting from the Villa.